I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy, 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 boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here. For the day done, you a go love over your son.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
When you hear this, the body you there, Sniper King I represent for I Am Sure Sports. You get to me, I say, when you want the latest news and sports and updates and all of that, check out I Am Sure Sports. You know the thing goes in. Remember, cover the whole island. Remember Kingston, Westmoreland, Galchester, Waterhouse, Galtigo Bay, everywhere. I Am Sure Sports. Check it out for the latest news and latest updates. Sniper King I represent. Where them feel like, yeah, someone on for the food from young, from we there, you need height. I Am Sure Sports. Yeah, dog.
Yeah, man, there you have it, people. Wow, the second one in a few hours. You know that we must love this, you understand me? But this is our JPL review and preview show. I am Manning's Man, and it is again my great pleasure to have you joining us for another episode, for another video. We thank you for all of those, all those who are on our earlier stream, looking at the Reggae Boys team selection, the squad, and picking out possible starting 11. Want to thank you for that. And we know that not all of you will have time to be on this one because it's in the middle of the work day. Yeah, and but we do understand, but we still have to do what we have to do because we want to always celebrate and give coverage to our local league. It's in the finals, and we are extremely delighted that we have been a part of the journey. Again, we believe that this has been one of the better competitions based on the quality of play. And so we're going to discuss a few things as it pertains to the league on our show today, or a podcast or a video today. We're going to look at the possibilities for the finals, as we also plan to have a watch along for the finals, and we hope that you can join us. We're going to look at both semifinals and look at some of the standout players in the semifinals, talk a little bit about the coaches, and then we're going to speak to the surface that is being used and how, we need to probably find a way to play less games on this surface given the amount of injuries that we have had this season and the implications on the players' muscles and ligaments when you play on this kind of a surface, the artificial surface at the Captain Horace Burrell Center up there at the University of the West Indies. For those of you who have not heard, again, the semifinals were played yesterday, the second leg of the semifinals. You remember the first leg of the semifinals, Mount Pleasant suffered a 1-0 defeat to Waterhouse, and Cavalier had a similar fate. They suffered a 1-0 defeat to Cavalier. So coming into the second legs, the both team had 1-goal deficits that they needed to recover from. Yeah, they they need to recover from. Can't say I was impressed by the performance of the Mount Pleasant team. I would say I am disappointed in how the game panned out. Given that they were in a semifinals, I don't think they offered much. And thing, we're joining now. The 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 finalist coach. I mean, you understand me? You see him have to take off him hat because he wants to make sure it's him showing him Cavalier crest right there. Mr. Rudolph Speid. Welcome, sir. Boy,
Thank you for
you have
having
to
me.
try. You have to try not to smile so much on the video, because people gonna be asking, what is so funny? What is so funny? What
Yeah,
is so
okay.
funny?
Let
But
me
we
see.
can tell that you're bubbling with excitement, given the outcome of your young charges
Yeah.
yesterday. But we want to look at the first game, which is the Mount Pleasant versus Waterhouse game. Before we get into your game, like I said earlier, that Mount Pleasant came in down one, had an early goal, and I think they gave up a very soft goal. The game ended 1-1, but I really don't think they added. That I just they didn't look like an organized team. They didn't look like a team that were in a semifinals. What are your thoughts? I mean, you had a closer look at the whole game than I did, because you're actually there at the venue. What are your thoughts on the Mount Pleasant team performance against Waterhouse? Or do you give credit to Waterhouse how they were set up and how they managed both ties? Or it is just that Mount Pleasant really was a weakened team who didn't offer much. What are your thoughts?
Well, Waterhouse, I mean, Mount Pleasant got the start they wanted. They scored early, so everything was tied up. But I think after they scored, I didn't get to watch all the games because I was kind of we were preparing to. But and we haven't seen the rest of the games yet on TV. But after they scored, I thought they were just rushing too much. They Mount Pleasant, and that they didn't try to play the patient passing game like what they want to play against us. They probably was just rushing too much, trying to get that second goal instead of realizing that they scored in 6 minutes and there's a whole long game ahead of them. Then they lost concentration in extra time in the first half. That's when they lost concentration and gave Rafi Thomas his first goal of the season. Basically, I don't know what happened, why the goalkeeper was out so far, but you're correct. And then after Waterhouse, so momentum was with them for a little while after they scored. Then after Waterhouse equalized, momentum went back to Waterhouse. And Waterhouse at that stage knew that they only had to survive for 45 minutes to go to the final, and they did it very comfortable.
A couple of very telling things that caused me to believe that the Mount Pleasant team is not organized, right? So Daniel Green came back into their starting 11, which put back Leonardo Rankin on bench. All right, then they had some issues with Ladiel Ritchie. They didn't take him off, and they conceded the goal. They took off Ladiel Ritchie, and when they took off Ladiel Ritchie, they made several alterations. Though it was one change, I
Oh,
think,
they made about three changes in the back
right,
line. Yeah.
in the back line to facilitate one player coming on. So Tajay Anderson came on, and they had to move Liston James from right back to centre back, move Sule McCullough from left back to right back, and brought on Tajay Anderson to play left back. Though they had a right back on the bench, and the right back on the bench was Asani Ricketts, who incidentally they purchased or transferred at the beginning of the season, and he has not even started in 2 games for them. So that is saying to me something is wrong, either at the recruitment level or at the coaching level, for that kind of error to be made. They also replaced Daniel Green, who was creating more problems than Kesson Hall, who I am still baffled by his consistent inclusion and him playing for the duration of the game. They also have a Guyanese international who plays centre back, and they take off Ladell Ritchie and they didn't bring him on to replace Ladell Richie. Instead, like I said, they made all of those alterations. All right. Then this youngster named Prince Christie, I don't know if you saw this. This guy has put on at least 20 pounds, I think, from the first time he played. And this is supposed to be a more professional environment. The man runs slower than a snail. And this is somebody that I was so impressed with when I saw him. I mean, he looked like these are the kind of players when you're in high school and you see them, you say, yo, fat man, pass the ball. And
I'm allowing you to do that, what you're doing, because it's your team, you know.
yeah, man, I have to beat them, man. I have to beat them, right? So
Are you
I
sure
get in.
you beat them too much, though?
No, I need to beat them some more. So let me go on. I can't understand how Kemar Beckford, who when Jamaica was going to Saudi Arabia, he was actually in that squad, and there were some problems either with his visa and stuff. All right, cannot get to start in a Mount Pleasant team, and he has been one of their leading goal scorers over the season. All right, I can't understand how they have released Ronaldo Rodney, Kevin Graham, Latroy Leng, Francois Swaby, and the list could go on and on and on. And they have not replaced them. I don't understand how you start Gary Mills in one game and you need a goal, but you never bring him on. But he started in the first leg of your semifinal. But you bring on Kemar Beckford over him. So there's no logic to their coaching, any at all, or at least with the management of the team. Which Mr. Speed is saying to me, it's not money, it's not a money business, because no matter how much money you have, it looks like it 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 don't. Like, I'm baffled by all of this spending. I hear these guys have spent close to $1 billion Jamaican dollars since they have been in Jamaica, and there's no silverware to show for it. I see Fresh God is telling me that Kevin Lane was not match fit, that he was sick. He was on the bench. I know they pulled him out at the beginning of the game. Um, yes, I don't know. That is saying to me that money isn't all. And your coaching pedigree has nothing to do with how successful your team is going to be. I don't know. Maybe you see it different from me.
Well, I mean, I don't know what is happening. I just know that from I've been coaching, it's not when you're making a change, it's better for you to pull out one person and fit in somebody else similar in the same position and play with that. Because if you have a lot of persons in position that they are not comfortable playing in, you have to be coaching all four players. But if you only had one that you just fit back one in, then you might just be coaching that person alone. So that is what coaches always advise. Listen, make as minimum change that you have to do. Fresh guard, respect, thanks, and I'm doing good. But the truth is, when you make too many changes and players are playing makeshift position, it actually reduces the capability of your team to produce at a particular level. So, say if your team was a standard rated 8.8 points team, if you have players, say 3-4 players in different position, your performance might drop down to 7, and that might just cost you the game. So, you're correct. If that was what happened, I didn't notice it when it was happening. And we'd advise coaches not to do that. Young aspirant coaches don't do it. If you are, try and have two of the same kind all the time. And if you're moving a left back, just put in a left back. Moving a right back, just put in a right back.
Yeah.
It's easier for you to coach that new person, even if they are a novice, than to coach all 3 persons in the role if you change up everything around back.
Exactly. Then one of the other issues is that Devontae Campbell, who has been a standout for him, Nikolai Finlayson, who was the man of the match, had him in his pocket. And I think sometimes you have to know when a player is out of his depth. Good young player, but you don't keep him out there based on past performance. He was having a poor game. Nikolai Finlayson used his experience. So some of those things, it to me, it suggests that maybe they are thinking like, listen, These are the younger players we're going to use because we plan on getting rid of some of these players. So my position now is that we could be seeing a new Mount Pleasant team for the next season.
But there would be nothing wrong with that, though, management. If they decide that they are going to go academy products, because you know me, if I had that academy, I would use them, right? I mean, my methodology is a little bit different from most people, but I would use them and get them to perform. But if it's a building process where they say they're going to use them next season and build them for a 3 year project, then that's fine. I wouldn't have an issue with
Yeah, but you see, I think there's a difference with some of your players who come through your system. A lot of your players who are in your Premier League team, they at least had the advantage of playing like in the Manning Cup or the Costa Cup and had like high level competition. A lot of these Mount Pleasant Academy players, they have never had experience in Manning or the Costa Cup. And I think that may be that may affect them. I don't know. But let's see what happens with them. But I could see a new roster for the most part at the beginning of the next season. Because I always tell people if you keep spending money, no matter how rich you are, you don't want to move from billions to millions or millions to thousands. At some point, it has to stop. And every team that has come to Jamaica or operated in Jamaica that kind of a way, after 5 seasons, they either dissolve or they fall down in the table and change their operational structure. I wish them all the best, and I stand to watch and see. But let's speak to Waterhouse. I mean, I feel like Waterhouse had their game plan. They kind of were very conservative in the first part of the game, and kind of they had a lot of energy at the end of the game and played on the counter and really could have scored at least 3 goals um, on the counter attack if they were more um, clinical in front of goal. Because
are not selfish, because I've seen
yeah,
players who have made passes, so it would have been a tapping and the player shoot instead.
Fletcher had a couple where he should have
Yeah.
passed. Like he had like basically a 2-on-1, and he took a shot when he should have just played the ball across to I think Rafiq Thomas who was there. I see Shaquille Bradford had a couple of opportunities as well that he could have done better with. But that is it. One more season of failure for Mount Pleasant. We
Well,
anticipate.
just to say that the goalkeeper, even although he gave up that soft goal in the first leg, he actually almost atoned in the second leg. He made some really good saves though in the second legs when I
Yeah.
was looking at that.
I hear Brian saying that the goalkeeper had an error on that goal because he was how was he keeping for you, Mr. Speed? Because he used to keep.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah.
Well,
He-
I
he-
must tell you, when Brian faced penalty kicks, him save all 3 out of 5.
so he's not a goalkeeper, he's a penalty saver.
3 out of 5. Brian know where you're kicking long time before you start kicking.
Oh, he's a Team Kroll. He's a Team
Yeah,
Kroll.
yeah, man. Him
You
bad
bring him in
for penalty. For penalty, him bad.
All right, Brian. The penalty keeper, not a goalkeeper. For purposes of penalty, they put him in. Yeah, man. All right, that's good to know. But and I think Waterhouse managed the game well. I think they knew what they had to do, and they played well. Again, they managed the game. I think Nikolai Finlayson managed their defense very well. Very disciplined team. And like I said, I like the way how they managed the game. I mean, they slowed it down. They stopped the game when it was necessary, and when they had the breakaways, they did it with a lot of speed. I still think um, Campbell had a poor game. It's just that Mount Pleasant never capitalized on some of his vulnerabilities. Um, at left back, I believe. Um, but I think Binns and Howell in the middle of the park did well enough for them. They outplayed. I would say Kevin Isaacs was walking. Listen, I know you can't get into some of these things because you're part of the technical committee, but sometimes I wonder on what premise that some of these players are called up for the national team when I watch them. I mean, I am expecting that if you have a national call up, you are going to stand out. That when I look at the game, even if you're not at the best, you are better than the people who are playing in your position. And he was totally outclassed by Damian Bins. And I think the guy name is Romario Howell.
Ramon.
Ramon Howell. And this is a player who recently represented the national team. I expected a whole lot more from him. Same thing for Daniel Green. You have had national call-ups. You understand me? I think the standout player for Mount Pleasant, Richie played well while he was on. I think Harvey overworked in the midfield because he never had a lot of support. And then Jordan Fletcher scored a good free kick. Um, but again, I don't know. I just think how that team was set up, it wasn't the best. And so that was the first game. So 1-1 it ended. Waterhouse going through 2-1 and aggregate. The second game was what I believe was a better game. Had a couple of difficulties in it with some decisions that we go talk about, but it ended in very rough game. At one point, I felt like somebody was going to be red carded, as happened in the first in the regular season game when these two teams played. Both teams had players red carded, but the referee kept she kept the cards in her pocket, the red cards in her pocket, but she distributed a few yellow cards. But yeah, good game. I think it was better than the first match, the Mount Pleasant Waterhouse match. I think Tivoli offered, something, though they didn't break down the Cavaliers' defense, which I believe is the best defense in the league. I think the Cavaliers' defense, especially since they have included Jamai Topi in that centre back position, and take it. They had him starting at CDM, and they moved him back um, to centre back, and he looked better. But let me get to the big event, and then we talk about the other thing. The penalty. The penalty now, if we had VAR, I agree with you, Fresh God, that if there was VAR, good save by JD White, but if VAR were available, that penalty would have been retaken, Mr. Speid. I am telling you.
And I was going to say, if
He was
VAR was
way off
available,
his line.
if VAR was available, that penalty would not have been given.
What does the handball rule says though? Because
Because
the
he
ball
was,
actually hit his hand,
yeah, but he kicked at the ball, clearing it, and then it bubbled up on his hand. It's not it is hand. It's not like he was trying to control it or trying to block a shot or anything. It was a clean hit, but it chin off his boots and hit his hand. And I was advised by a top ref, that ref in World Cup, that's not a penalty. And the person even told the referee, and the referee kind of make it sound like, yeah, it's a problem for you.
It was a poor call. But isn't the rule that if your hand is in an unnatural position and the ball hits it, it's a penalty? Which you could say that his hand was in an unnatural position. And
Why not unnatural? He must swing in to clear the ball.
okay. But do you know that there was a Tivoli player though, that if the ball had not hit his hand, it could have gone to that player?
No.
Though he had a defender, yeah man, he had a defender right beside a Tivoli player. So the possibility exists that, but I mean, that is, we can talk about it.
Yeah, water under the bridge.
Yeah.
And I think
Fresh God,
you see
said,
why
ball and hand not a penalty. He's asking.
ball and hand. No, his handball is a penalty. So I know that handball is a penalty. Ball and hand, I don't know what that means. But funny enough, you see what you just say?
Yeah.
But you know it is. You think you make a mistake, something else happen, you just make it go on. Eh?
Yeah. So, but what happened?
You say it, though. I want you say it. I don't want.
Yeah, man. So, like, I find it like for whatever reason, like if here's why I believe it was a bad call, Fresh God. Let me say it this way. In my opinion, I think once the call was made, because it wasn't the referee who made the call, she confirmed what the assistant ref did. All right. So when the penalty was taken, I think because it was saved, in my humble opinion, the referee did not call back the penalty. In my humble opinion, because she realized that the call was an error in the beginning. In my humble opinion. What say you, Fresh God? Because we can't ask Mr. Speed this because it will be a conflict of interest. Big up Crystal from Talawa TV. Crystal, you need to come on and join me, You need to come on and join me so the Jamaicans can hear your beautiful voice. But not only that, what would have been a next issue, like there are so many issues in this, is Devroy Gray got the rebound and kicked it over the top. Devroy Gray was in the box when the penalty was taken. And I am saying to myself, if that had scored, if that had scored, what would have been? You understand me? Like, what would have happened? That was part of the thing, So everything kind of worked out because he before the penalty was kicked, and I said, what is he doing in the box? What is he doing in the box? What is he doing in the box? And I mean, it just worked out because I know that maybe your players did not see that because he was in front of them, so they couldn't even block
maybe
it.
the referee did not see it either.
But normally you would block out. In a penalty, you know that you're supposed to block out. So I am believing that they didn't, because I don't know why, because your players did not block out, So he was, when the man kicked the ball, he was already in the box. And I think that is why he kicked, because if you were running from outside of the box, he probably would have a better chance. Because he was in the box, he was so close to
underneath the ball. The ball came back too fast to him.
Exactly my point. So that is why it ended up going over the top, which kind of worked out, I think.
Well, we didn't care. As long as it don't go in it, we didn't care where it go. And we didn't mind him not in the box too, because I think if he had scored it and the referee spot him in the box, then they would have had to give us a free kick.
Yeah. A free kick and the goalkeeper cheated, then it should have been called back. Well, I am saying, I agree with you, Brian, but in my opinion, I mean,
I agree with you too, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I am not, Brian. I agree with you that is what should have been done. But you see a person's conscience is a hard thing to manage. When your conscience, if you know you make a mistake and there's a way, people always say this. I don't agree with the principle, but people always have what they call make-up calls in sports. It's not a rule of the game, but I think in the heads of officials, there are what you call make-up calls, right? The referee is not one of the best one going around. Isn't she one of the FIFA? She's on the FIFA panel of referee.
She is ranked either 2 or 3 in Jamaica as a number 2 referee or number 3 referee in Jamaica. That's her ranking.
Okay, that's her ranking. Okay, but Mr. Speed, what do you mean? Now, people, if you watch the game, so the designated penalty kicker for Tivoli is Jermaine Johnson. Because we're going to go back to look at the game and let Mr. Speed give us his perspective on the game. All right? So, Jermaine Johnson was just coming on, right? And he was asked to kick the penalty because he's a designated penalty kicker. For some reason, the other person, the second person who is
vice captain,
which is Kemar Fleming.
Yes.
But do you know that Reed wanted to kick the penalty? Trayvon Reed. But he was substituted because he is one of the penalty kickers. But they substituted him for Johnson to take the penalty, and they took off the other penalty kicker. Because that's what happened now. There are 2 penalty kickers. Trayvon Reed and Jermaine Johnson. One replaced the other. The one who is coming on, I don't know if it's out of seniority or boy are just coming on, hands the kick over to the vice captain. who kicks it and misses it? Who do you blame?
Oh, well, first I must correct you. It never missed. It was saved.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. It was saved by JD White.
But
Who?
remember, just the other day, the Manchester United fans was upset with their coach, Ole, because he carried on a player who was cold to kick a penalty and he missed. You remember that occasion? So maybe Teddy was at the back of his mind was saying, I'm cold. I'm just coming and I won't be able to make as good a contact as I would want. So him give Fleming the kick. Because Fleming was in the battle already on the field, and Fleming has taken penalties before. But I think the pressure, and I think the whole idea that the penalty took so long to be taken because there was all these changes, I thought Jedin got more determined as it was going along. Let me tell you, Jedin is a known penalty saver. And at Cavalier, we train our goalkeepers to save penalties. So it's not like it's an easy task. I actually was saying it's 50-50. 50% I will save it and 50% I score. I wasn't really worried. I was so calm because I knew that Jedin was going to give his best. And remember, a lot of people think Jedin is not a good keeper. They are so wrong. He's sound. So what people wanted to see is spectacular, but he's sound. So I wasn't worried, really. I knew it. I knew that if that ball is not kicked into the farthest 30% of the goal, if it is kicked into 70% of the goal nearest to Jedin was going to save it. You have to kick it far from him and hard enough. And that is why I wasn't worried. But then maybe Kemar, who has played every minute for Tivoli since
Yeah, this season, yeah.
yeah, he may have, and then 4 games in 2 weeks, his legs may be heavier than he thinks, and maybe that is why he wasn't able to generate enough pace, or he was trying not to miss the goal because of, all of that battle and war that he has been through and the amount of running, and all of those things contribute to the miss, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
How do you rate JD? Because a lot of people question JD's
Right,
plays
and it's
sometimes in the
because
national team, but he have been at the under 17. I know Crystal from Talal TV who is trying to join us. She did an interview with him recently on her channel, and he spoke to the fact that the game against the USA, that friendly, that 4 goals were scored on him. He spoke about how that game was a turning point in his whole career because he felt like he could have done better. I listened to that interview, but how do you rate him? Because like I said, many people always question his selection in the senior team setup. Though this is a guy who was kept at the under 17 and under 20 level, he did a good job when he was at Stats, and he has always been in goal for you once he's fit.
Well, Jedin has kept for us. I mean, from he was 17 years of age. I mean, we all know he went to Umberland. And his career got derailed, right? So he's really, and he got a bad injury at Umberland and his career got derailed. So he's really coming back into his own. We brought him back from Umberland because we recognize the talent that he has. We brought him back. And he has been slowly getting into his own. I mean, he's just 21. A lot of people don't realize that this player is 21. So he has a long way to go as a goalkeeper. Jedin is actually the future of Jamaica, whether you like it or not, sometime down the road, because the older he gets, is the better he'll become. But in this Premier League, I must tell you that Jedin has always been like 50%, and sometimes even less. Sometimes he's keeping on one leg. So people just don't understand the pain that he's going through because we really do have an ex-goalkeeper. And if you notice, we just bring in another 18-year-old to be his deputy because we had issues with the other 2 goalkeepers, so they're not there anymore. So Jedin has to soldier along even when he's injured. But I know that he's a sound goalkeeper. He doesn't dive as much, but he's always behind the ball because he moves first. And I think they are just misreading Jedin. Jedin is one of the best, if not the best local goalkeeper we have. Listen, we have his second best defensive record in the league. And there was one game that we considered 3 goals and one game that we considered 2 goals in Waterhouse, and in Mount Pleasant we considered 3. That's 5 in 2 games. and we have now played 12 games and conceded 9 goals. Just kind of give you an idea of how good he is, but people just don't want to see for whatever reason. But he's top notch.
Crystal, welcome to I Am Sure Sports. How you doing? Talawa TV.
Hi, good evening, Mannings and Mr. Speed. Mannings, sorry about the closed camera. I'm in the process of writing a piece at the moment for the Voice newspaper. So when I'm writing pieces, I like to be in the dark. That probably sounds a little bit weird, but I'm in my element basically. So sorry about that. Next time round, I'll definitely turn my camera on for you.
Not a problem. I think you were trying to hide your beautiful smile, but now that you have explained, everyone will be. But you interviewed JD a few days
Mhm,
ago. I mean, what are
mhm.
your thoughts on him as a goalkeeper?
I just think that I have nothing but high praises for Jadine. I think for us he's like that baby brother that we want him to do so well. And what I love about him is he's the type of person who knows about accountability and knows when to apply accountability. And I think that's a great trait to have when you're a young goalkeeper or a young player, because quite often, even at experienced age, the older players, quite often you see when they make mistakes, pivotal mistakes that cost their team crucial games, and they shift the blame. So they blame the players around them, or they blame the coaching staff, head coach, management, whatever it may be. But with Jadine, he's very self-aware, and that's what I like about him. He knows when he's made a mistake. He doesn't need the fans going on social media and hurling abuse at him. We have seen that in the past, unfortunately. But like I said, with Jadine, he's a level-headed um person. And I did say to him on quite a few occasions that for someone who's so young, you seem to have like a grown man's mindset on your young shoulders. He's unfortunately suffered personal loss, and that can be difficult for anyone. And he's bounced back, or he is bouncing back, and he's not allowing difficult circumstances to get in the way of his professional game. And when it has interrupted his professional game, he's used his self-awareness and has bounced back. And I definitely agree with Mr. Speed when he said that he is the future of Jamaica, whether you like it or not. That is the fact. He is the future of Jamaican football. And I think that he's a solid example for the next generation to look to and say, this is somebody that I want to copy, not just because of his style of play, but when you look at how he conducts himself, especially on social media, it's very easy for young footballers who play for professional clubs to get carried away because of the financial gains. But he's not this hype footballer who lets the money and the finances get to his head. And I think that's something that he should definitely be credited for.
Yeah. Mr. Speed, you need to hire Crystal from Talawa TV to be
I need,
JD's PR person. I mean,
yes,
anybody listening to this would sign him on a major and lucrative contract right now.
they should before they can't afford him.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the truth is, at his age, there's no other keeper in the league better than him. I mean, if you look in the league, I mean, he's 20 years old. Which other young keeper is there in the league better than
Hmm.
Jaden White in the last three or so seasons
Right.
that he have been
What
in the league?
people forget, and why they judge him so harsh, he's been around a long time. This is probably his fourth year in the Premier League, but he's
Yeah,
still he was keeping from he was 16. So that is what people is forgetting how young he was when he started.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But Crystal, did you get an opportunity to watch the games?
I didn't. I am really disappointed. I tuned into your program last week with Mr. Speed, and I was just basically just taking in all the knowledge and the insight. And I did say to Jadine that one of the disappointing thing with being based in the diaspora is we can't get that live action to watch the games live. I know that for the finals things will be slightly different. That there is a possibility that we can tune in live, and if that's the case, then that will be great. And I will be tuning in and hoping that Jadine and his teammates can just get the job done and taste sweet victory. Because like I said to
Yeah,
him, I think that yeah, he deserves it. And when you've got a young squad, what you've got to realize is this is the future of Jamaica. It's not just Jadine White; it's all the young players around him. um so what I want is for them to taste success, because when you taste a bit of success, you get a bit more hungry. and that could only be a good thing for the national setup. So of course, I'm rooting for the youth. I want them to take success because they've done this before in the past at a younger level.
Yeah. I think it is goal accomplished for Cavaliers because I think their major, what the goal they set out for was to qualify for the CONCACAF League. I
Mm-hmm.
think winning the JPL would be just, icing on the cake, but they already have the cake. I think their major thrust at the beginning was to qualify for CONCACAF, and once you finish first or second, then you qualify. So for them, it's a win already. But not only
Yeah.
that, this is 40 years 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
That means that the last time Cavaliers was in the finals of the local league, his coach wasn't even playing football. Possibly, you understand me? How long? So this is a big deal. But they're going up against a Waterhouse team, though, that in terms of youth, both teams are young,
Mm-hmm.
enterprising. Both teams like to play the ball around. In fact, Waterhouse is coached by Marcel Gale, who is one of those coaches at St. George's College. And anybody
Mm-hmm.
who knows St. George's College knows that the St. George's College system is always to pass and possess the ball and things. So, in as much as I had picked Cavaliers to be in the finals, I didn't have Waterhouse. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it will be uh, a very easy final. This is Waterhouse fourth final, I think, in 6 seasons, and I think they have lost all the finals that they have been in during that time. I think the last time they won was 1998 when Peter Cargill was in that team.
No. 2005, I think they ran down above you. Above you had
Right?
a
Yes,
15
yes.
point lead,
And when
and they ran
Cargill
them
was the
down in the final.
coach.
And they ran them down in the final. No, it wasn't Cargill. And they ran them down in the final round and beat above you and won the title from a
Okay.
15-point deficit.
Right, yes, yes, that is true. 2005. So 16 years since they have won a title, but they have consistently been in the last 6 seasons being up there. So it's going to be a ding dong battle. Um, yes, but Mr. Speedy, your team yesterday, let me just go back to that game. Um, and then I'll get Talawa to come in. I was not impressed with how your team played yesterday. I thought you guys played a very poor game. Atkinson was out of the game for much of it. Shaquille um, Thomas was also missing, and the Anderson who scored the one goal for you seemed to have, you know, yeah, I don't know, it just seemed out of place for most of the game. But again, I will say, people, if there is any player that I've been impressed with, um, is Jamai Topi. There are other players, but let me tell you why I am personally impressed with him. Is that he has come back to playing football, because this was one of the players that we touted as being one of the next big defenders in the national setup, and he has been out. He comes back into the league, and in the few games he has played, he has shown his class. Like people often says, form is temporary, class is permanent. This is a class player, and with these performances, he looks like he could get a national call up if he continues to get fit and play well. Very, very good player, and I would advise you to keep your eyes on him. What say you, Mr. Speed? And then I'll get some feedback from Tallow, from Crystal.
Um, it wasn't Calvert Fitzgerald. It was a gentleman. I can't remember his name. It was a thick set fella that used to coach at Harborview was the coach. It's not Calvert Fitzgerald was the coach. Just to say that, I mean, Jamai Tope, the only regret we have is that he came back a little too late. But you see, everything is for a purpose, because without Jamai Tope, we were depending on to come back and play, because we know what the situation was with the club that he was at. Then there was the emergence of Richard King. Uh, and then we had to prepare Richard King for that role. So you're 100% correct. He's getting fitter and fitter every day, because I mean he has lost a lot of weight from when he just came first time. He's much faster now, and this is the Jamai Tope that we knew, commanding, can keep clean sheets. So You're correct. I mean, farm is temporary, class is permanent once you're willing to work at it. And he has been working very hard. I mean, when he came back, you could see the instant respect that the players had on him. So even although he's not the captain, he's definitely one of the leaders that we have. He speaks the truth. He captained the team from his right side of the field because people believe that the team only have one captain. So he's just a tower. He rarely makes mistake. His pass completion rate is so good. He has just improved our team defensively and even in our possession game. And I think, with a couple more game under his belt, he'll be ready. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know Jamai Topi, Crystal?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Topi as well. I believe wasn't it Philadelphia Union? Was it Philadelphia
Correct.
Union?
Union 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, he's obviously had that experience of playing overseas for a well-respected club, and that could only be a great benefit, not just for the Jamaica National Premier League, but also for his club setup as well. He's already around a group of professional leaders from head to toe, but at least, when he's gone overseas and what the qualities that he and knowledge that he would have learned from overseas, I'm sure he can come back and share that with his teammates. And obviously that would just help to build the development, the professional aspect of Cavalier. So it's a huge plus for the clubs and those around him.
Yeah. I think that's a very, very good point because I think he's 21.
Yes, he's still 21.
Yeah.
So people again will look at Jamai
Yeah.
and say he has been playing from he was 16 for us. So you look at him and say, oh, but he's playing 5 seasons. But he's 21 and
And he
there's
was
a
part of the
development.
2019 Gold Cup squad, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
he also played in the under 20 World Cup qualifiers, which we only lost out to Mexico and goal average. He was on
Yes.
that team too. Scored. He was the second leading goal scorer on that team
Right. I remember he
from
scored
centre
some.
half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from centre half he scored a lot of goals. So good talent. But I will say though, in terms of from the Cavaliers standpoint, the most consistent player for Cavaliers has been Kyle May. Um, he has been consistently good in terms of his overall play.
So let us give you a little thing. Kyle came to Cavalier. When I saw him play, I said to Kyle say,
He was at Bridgeport, right?
yes, I said, Kyle you can be the best right back in the country. But Kyle loves to play centre half. He loves to play centre half. In our 3-man system, he played on the right side and he would overlap all the time. So he'd be involved in the game. And then once Tope came back, I said, Kyle this is it, You need to play where you are best playing at, and that is at right attacking, right back. And we have put him there, and the rest is history. I think he's probably the best right attacking wing back in Jamaica right now. I mean, without a doubt, Kyle is, he has good pace, crosses the ball very well. He can score if you give him a chance, and he runs up and down the flank tirelessly for 90 minutes every single game. He's one of the reasons why we are here. And I think he has played almost every minute of the league too.
Yeah, I think he has played all. No, I think he came off. There was a game that he was injured, and I think he was
Yeah.
feeling some, and he came off. But people, let me just stop and just invite you to check out Talawa TV with Crystal, right? Very good channel. I think she has a show at 4. Is it 4 today, Crystal?
Yeah, I sent you a message about that, all depending on your availability. So I'm up for us shifting it if possible. So I sent you
Yeah,
like
man.
a DM some hours ago.
Yeah, so 4 o'clock. Check out Talawa TV. She doing her thing, good content. She's one of the females out there in the field. But like I said, I don't think big up Balakar and Coach Rudolph Stennett and Claudine. Please, even if you're gonna get your Brazil jersey and flag, keep your Jamaica jersey. We still believe. We still believe. We still have hope in the national team. We still have hope. I'm not talking about Hope Road. We're talking about hope to be in Qatar. So still believe. It may seem impossible right now, but believe the impossible dream. Yeah, but again, I think Waterhouse have some very good players. I mean, Ramon Howell, you say his name is. He's a good player. Um, Andre Fletcher has looked good. Um, Shaquille Bradford has been playing well as well. Damian Binns, who they have in, I mean, they have a very good team. And again, they have a very good coach. But let me just go back to Tivoli. Most of you did not know that Edson Scott was the reserve goalkeeper for Tivoli. You know, so it's a good thing not never happened to Nicholas Clark. None of you know Edson Scott, who kept for Tivoli when Tivoli won the Premier League the last time. Over 40, I think he's 40 odd years old, but he was a reserve keeper for Cavaliers in this game. But Waterhouse is a very formidable team. Mr. Speid, what do you think?
Yes.
You think? I mean, because your game earlier this season to Waterhouse, you lost to them.
No. The game earlier was the most exciting game of the league. We drew 2-2.
2-2, yes, 2-2.
With a Dwayne Atkinson double.
Yes,
and a Damian double.
Right, and Dwayne Atkinson should have scored a hat trick. I think he hit the post.
Hit the post with it, yes.
In that game. So, what do you think? Do you think you can prevent them from scoring 2 this time around, and score 2?
Well, we're playing much better defensively now, but I don't know. Waterhouse is one of those teams that can score goals, so they will pop up. I mean, Bradford is almost unplayable. In the last couple of matches, he scores in almost every match, and when he's not scoring good goals, he's scoring lucky goals, like the one that passed Mount Pleasant in the first leg. So he's somebody you have to watch, and then we know of the quality of Fletcher, what he can do too. So there's a lot of goal scoring there, and even although Rafiki Thomas is about 35 now, again, Cristiano Ronaldo has shown me that I can score goals at 37, 30. So I mean, it's they have goal scorers in their ranks. Owen is not there anymore. He was one of their influential player, but I see.
DeAndre Thomas is his name. He has been playing in that position. Is DeAndre Thomas?
No, Denardo.
Thomas. Yes. Denardo Thomas has taken that. Yeah, hold.
Right. So they have, and these are goal scorers. So they do have quality players. So I wouldn't be surprised if they score or not. So it could happen. I mean, in the last 4 games, we have not conceded for 360 minutes. So you can see that, we're getting into our stride. But as they say, it's defense in championships, offense in matches. And we have shown that our defense, can defend if they have to. So we just hope that we'll be able to keep it tight, just the same, and able to score that 1 or 2 goals that will take us to the title. I know it's not going to be easy. Waterhouse is going to come at us firing with our cylinders. I mean, they don't know any other way to play except to attack you.
Yes.
Yes, and Roshan Sharp, he was a top goal scorer a couple years ago back for Jamalco. He's also on the bench as well. So, and Portmore. So, I think they are a difficult team to beat, but not unbeatable.
Okay, I think this is going to be a good game. I hope it, because finals can be very tense. So I hope the team come in like free running, free playing, and make it a very exciting.
Well, what I can tell you was that my players were nervous in the Tivoli game. They were. I mean, unusually.
They were nervous?
Very.
Okay.
Because normally, we can keep the ball. Normally, I mean, we just give it away repeatedly, and Tivoli just attacked us, But we can defend though, and we did stand up to their attacks. But they were nervous, so I'm just hoping, when we meet tomorrow morning and we discuss the plan, if we get rid of that, it will be better for us. I mean, it will perform much better.
Yeah, I see Claudine asking about Harborview. Harborview were knocked out. It's next season for them.
They went to the quarterfinals.
They went to the quarterfinals. Yeah.
Mount Pleasant knocked them out. It was a close tie, but Mount Pleasant prevailed.
Yeah, man. So tell us about the finals. What time is the finals? Where will the finals be played? Is it over 2 legs or what?
No, the final is this Saturday, just at 2:30 at the Captain Horace Burrell Technical Center. So that's it. So
2:31 leg extra time penalties.
2:31 leg extra time penalty. Play to the dead.
All right. Someone just said, Mr. Speid, that you look more nervous than the players.
That's fine. That could be true too, but
what I'll say is right. Anything you want to ask Mr. Speid, Talawa?
I mean, he's a legend. That's a very good
Yeah.
question. I don't even know what to ask. There's so many questions to ask. I guess one thing I would love to know is what keeps you going after all these years.
Well, truth is a search for knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that when I was coaching Cavalier, I mean, I probably won like 50 titles before in all sorts of leagues, under 30,
Mm-hmm.
under 15, under 17, Super League, Major League, Premier League
Never
playoffs.
won the Premier League yet, people. Let me
Never
just let you
won
know.
Premier League. But what I noticed, Crystal, was, I was just exposed to some very good coaches and in the last 3 to 4 years and people who have a lot of knowledge about football. And it dawned on me when speaking to these people and doing another course in the CONCACAF B license course, how much I did not know
Mm-hmm.
in football. And that is what has piqued my interest again to carry on. So like this year was really an experiment for me. I looked we lost like 10 players from the team that usually start last year, right? And we lost all of our star players. Alex Marshall, Nicholas Hamilton, Chevon Marsh, Kaim Paris, Nicky Bailey. All of those players have gone on overseas to play overseas. And we lost like Rankin to Mount Pleasant and the Nelson brothers to Moline. So most people would have said, maybe we should just give up now because losing all of your starting players basically, then you really don't have a team. But I
Mm-hmm.
said, I've learned so much by speaking to people who know stuff, over the last couple of years. I said, let me see if I can put all of that knowledge together with some youthful players and see what can happen. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we did, put a team together and started to work with the team over the months during the COVID. Sometimes it's just physical, small groups, just talking to them. I've changed my change how I approach the players. I would call them on the phone and talk to them, encourage them, try to understand them. Then the team building process is something that I was doing lessons on, and I say, okay, let us see what this team building process is, and I really tried it out. And I noticed that I started to have a team that looked like it could give problems, not because I mean a lot of my players, a lot of clubs wouldn't even use them. They wouldn't even pick them to play on their teams really. And it's just something that I thought that let us see where it goes, and this is where we are now. And because of that, I still want to go and do a A license course or a pro license course because I just realized how much knowledge I don't have. Just like a lot of people walk on the road and pretend that they know everything about football, I can tell that they don't know anything. Because I was one of those persons and I realized that I didn't know anything. So this is just a manifestation. And so it become like a personal thing that I want to do to see how far I can really bring this new knowledge that I've gotten, or I can impart on the younger players and how I can use it for team building and achieve things that normally wouldn't have been achieved.
Incredible, fascinating story. Long may your journey continues, and I hope that with it you get great amount of success and best of luck in the finals.
Thank you. Thank
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah. So again, people, finals will be Saturday. Um, let me just put it. Finals will be Saturday at 2:30 at the UE JFF Captain Horace Borrell Center. Captain Horace Borrell Center. We have a couple of questions that we're going to ask Mr. Speed about that as we look to the league next season. But people, one of the persons, there are two persons with female names, they always, I mean, I appreciate their comments, but they challenge me the most. One is Dominique, and one of the names is Claudine, right? So I am glad that today Claudine has chosen to challenge Mr. Speed instead of me. So here's what she's asking.
Sorry, I actually does work for the JFF in some respect, but it is restricted, and I don't know what I'm working on now. Is part of the work that I'd helped was for the formation of the new Premier League, right? So that part of that work, I was involved in a task force with that, and that has gone well. As you can see from what is happening. and we have an independent chairman, etc. So that is part of the work that I was involved in. Now, I work on a committee, the technical and development committee for the JFF, and what we're working on now is the coaching school, because we realize that a lot of our coaches, they are below what is required at the world standard level. We have like C license coaches when the other coaches they have B and A and pro license. So we're like 3 rungs below what the best the world has to offer. So that is what I'm working towards, us getting at least if it's even one pro license coach locally by 2025. So I'm doing that for the JFF. And also club licensing. All the clubs has to have a club license. And that is why you have the problem now with the match that is supposed to be played against Montego Bay United and Waterhouse, because a club license is something that we are making sure happens. So yes, I do work for the JFF, but remember, it's in a restricted framework.
I heard something. Let me just because you said the whole JFF thing, and then we move on. Because I heard an ex talk show host saying earlier today that they believe that your position is a conflict of interest, and their whole thought behind that is that um, you with Cavaliers, your role at Cavaliers, and being a part of the technical committee, there could be, like I said, a conflict of interest. And one person was saying to them, it is one person called in and said that you are a board that makes suggestions, not decisions. So you made I can't remember if suggestion was the right word,
Right.
but
So
you
we make recommendations to the board.
recommendations, right?
So we assess everything from recommending what the standard should be for us to improve at the JFF. And it's a long road. We have a 5-year plan. So we'll make recommendation. My committee is not me alone. We have 7 persons and it have to be a majority. So but we also develop a roadmap which we want to take for the next 5 years, 2025, which include the 3 things that we spoke about: the professional units, the coaching, education, and the club license. But we also have women, and we also have an elite. We're trying to come up with an elite player pathway. So players know, if you want to be an elite player, this is your pathway from the parish team to the professional teams. And we want to have competition, that elite youth competition. So those are all in the making coming up. So my role is a long term role. Now, yes, I heard the person talking, but then you have to ask yourself the question. I JFF job is not a paid job. It's
Yeah.
not a paid job. It is a volunteer. I love my country and I love football, so I try to help. I've worked for every president, Captain Burrell, um, Boxhill, Michael Kitts, and I'm sure I'm going to work for the other president. But is it fair for me to spend
The
all of
other president, Mr. Speed, careful what you say now, because
who
that
say
answer.
whenever? I'm saying whenever.
Say-
Whoever, whenever. I don't mean this time when Mr. Ricketts running. I'm just saying whoever, whenever, because people kind of see what I'm worth and then ask me to help, and I'll always help. But it is not fair for you to ask me to give up my livelihood, because to give up Cavalier, who have spent millions. I have a Premier League women team and I have a Premier League men team. Why should I desert the boys that come up in my system, believe in Cavalier, the Cavalier principle, and want to join us? Why should I desert them just because I'm helping
Yeah.
them? So I just can't understand, if you believe, which everybody believes on the board level at the JFF, that I am helpful to the JFF. I just can't understand why somebody would believe that I should give up one or the other. I don't understand, because and the board said to the persons who brought it to them before, show us the conflict, and the person couldn't come up with any. And that is where we are today. But we're still having this one reporter believing that he knows everything, and he's the only one who is barking at the moon, because what he's suggesting will happen. Never ever going to happen.
Yeah, the truth is, in certain position in JFF, most of the persons who get involved in football at a certain level operate some sort of, they are engaged in football. It's
That
almost like difficult for you to be serving in certain capacity in the national federation and not be a stakeholder in football
there
directly
is
or
no reason for
indirectly.
you. There will be no reason for you
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
it,
yeah,
basically. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
all the persons who are in the JFF, they have they come from clubs, they come from parish, they come from
Exactly.
football entity.
And people don't know that Mike Ricketts used to be a part of Galaxy. All of these guys at some point would have been involved in parish football, at some level. And so, yeah,
Or they are the parish president before they become the president. So I
there
mean,
you
they
go.
still love the parish. So I don't understand why this person is barking at the moon, because even in FIFA, the FIFA president is from a country. CONCACAF president is from a country. They all used to head up their national association, and you would wonder then, will they do something in preference to their national association or clubs that they
Yeah.
used to come for? No, they can't do it because there's a voting process, there's a democratic process. So even if they came up with something and it's not fair, they'll be voted down by the other countries.
Yeah. People Talawa TV, Crystal, she'll be leaving us shortly, but like I said, she have her channel is called Talawa TV. Please check it out. I mean, lots of great interview and great content over there. I mean, she's working on an article. That's why you can't see her beautiful face right now. But next time she will come on. But I think her voice suffice. So again, thank you, Talawa, for coming on. And I know you have to run and finish up your work, and your pay is more
And when
important
you
than
need me to
your
come across there, just call.
yeah.
I
I
said,
am so glad that you said that. Sorry to interrupt you. It's
and
funny because I was actually speaking about you positively to Jadine yesterday. I was sending him a message and I was just like, just raining you praises. So I'm glad that you beat me to it. And of course, I'm definitely going to bite your hand off and take up that offer.
okay, and I just sent Manning's man the link to watch the match on Saturday, so you'll send it to you.
Thank you. Just before I go, quick questions. What's the process for running for presidency? Because from an outsider looking in, it seems as if the cards are very close to one's chest. It's almost as if you don't find out about the presidency until the announcement or the decision has already been made. So, what's the process for that?
Well, I mean, the process is that you have to be, there's a 1 month period of a nomination. You have to be nominated by 4 parish associations now, um,
Mm-hmm.
but only 13 parishes actually vote. So once you get a majority of the vote, seven, sorry, it's seven, 14,
Yes.
sorry, 13 votes. So once you get seven,
7.
yeah, you are the winner. So most time, you see, the JFF is a private company. So what happened is that those election notification just goes to the parish association. So unless somebody,
To the board members, really.
yeah, yeah, no, and the parish association,
Interesting.
and the parish association. So
Okay.
it is possible that the public might not even know that it is happening. And
Interesting. So say for example, if there was so could anyone apply if someone isn't it doesn't represent one of the parishes?
yes, but the parish would have to nominate him. The parishes. You have to get
Okay.
4 parishes to nominate. And that was made like that by our late friend Captain Boyle. Made it very hard for anybody to become the president. It's not Michael Pitt's decision. Before that, you only had to have 2 parish to nominate you, and it was made much harder. And before, you had 104 person who would vote. Now it's only 30. So that
Yeah,
is being touted to change. They're putting it up back to somewhere between 68 and 72. So I suppose in the future, it will get easier to run for positions at the JFF. Let me not say the presidency, because you could run for vice president,
Hmm.
you could run for, other positions.
Interesting. Thank you for that. I've always wondered, and I've always just like rattled my brain because the information is just not as transparent as you would like it to be. So thank you for that bit of clarity.
yes. All right, Crystal. Thank you. Remember, anytime you're ready, you show up, Mr. Speed. I can send you the contact information so you can.
100%. I'll
Yeah, man.
definitely keep you guys in mind.
Ye-
I'm going to tune in actually. I'm going to keep myself tuned in on my telly and watch the rest of your show. And thank you for having me. And I hope you both enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Crystal. That's Talawa TV for you people. Thank you so much, and you enjoy the rest of your day. And do a good article as usual.
I will do. I will do. Thank you.
Yeah,
Take
man.
care.
All right, bye. All right, so Mr. Speed, now one of the things I've also heard is that there are people now complaining about the surface, and what they are suggesting is that yes, the surface can be used, but it should not be used every week, because the playing on it on a weekly basis is affecting, it's causing too many injuries. It's not good on the players' muscles and all of those things. And I want to find out from you if your players have been affected. Number one, number two, should we look at other venues when the league restarts? That's number two. All right. Number three is that there also seems to be a problem in the daytime with the heat on the surface, and people are saying, "Listen, why can't we play the games at a later time?" All right. Now we know that there are curfews and all of these things going on now. Are there plans to use other venues so that the games can be played at a later time? Because that is also an important thing to us. So we want to find out from Mr. Speid about the condition of the surface and its implications on the players' muscles and ligaments and the amount of injuries that players have suffered on the artificial turf. And should we look at using other venues? The other thing is that should we also look at other venues so that the games can be played later? Maybe Sabina Park, maybe the National Stadium, maybe Stadium East, maybe Catherine Hall, secure venues instead of having all the games played on this artificial surface. All right, what are the plans where that is concerned? All right, hope to get back Mr. Speid. It look like there's some internet struggles on his end. So in the meantime, let me take this the board of the JFF private and they get government fund only. All right, and not I think the first part is a question, Claudine. So when Mr. Speid come back, I'll certainly have him um, address that question. But I think that is a very interesting um, proposal that is afoot right now to have the amount of persons who can vote to go past the regular 13 parish presidents to add other people. I hope it is independent thinking people and not people of the yeah. I figure that he's having some problem with his Wi-Fi, so let's see what happens. And I hope maybe it's a power cut, but I hope it's not. In other words, if the president of St. Anne normally votes and normally gets approval from 4 persons on his local board, and those 4 persons will be part of the extension from 30 to 62, then all the votes are probably going to go to the same person again. So who will comprise or who will make up 13 from 62? That's what, 49. Where will the other 49 votes come from? I think that's the question. Because if it's the same people in football in the parish, we may end up with the same people in the positions that they are. But to extend the voting rights or to extend the amount of persons who can vote, I think would be a good move. And it is something that I believe needs to happen. So you hear that the finals this Saturday, 2:30 at the Captain Horace Burrell Center up there at UWI, will be contested between Cavaliers and Waterhouse. When these two teams met in the early season, the game ended 2-2, right? Damian Binns scoring 2 for Waterhouse. Dwayne Atkinson scoring 2 for Cavaliers. Both teams have also qualified for the CONCACAF playoffs. All right, I know this was a goal of Cavaliers from the beginning of the season, and Waterhouse. You remember Waterhouse had to withdraw, I believe, last season. So we look forward to see see what is going to happen in the finals. You understand me? We're going to see. Let me take this. I'm just 11 teams in a league, and the coach can't find one team or box to box play. Need a new, need a new league. Where parishes play against parishes. This community-based league, no, will take us nowhere. But Justin Seymour, one thing with you, you're very consistent because from the beginning you have kept this same point. But I will tell you, there are other CDMs in the league, you know. I mean, I think there are other CDMs in the league, but they are not as experienced. And that is why and let me go back to it. As it relates to the national team, I need a press conference to just know the reasons. To know that, okay, I don't think the players in the league are of the quality. I just need to hear why. But one thing I'll say though is that um, Howell at Waterhouse is a good CDM. A few seasons ago, Keith Simpson is a good CDM. I mean, here he's gone into representational politics, possibly. But he was a good CDM. Vanzi from Humble Lion had a good season. He is a good CDM. So they are good CDMs in the league. It's just that, like, we need to know why. And again, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that Javon Watson is not good. I'm just saying that at his age and the fact that he has not been playing, he is possibly not the best option right now. The voting changes, sure. Lord Varel isn't playing in the other two matches. All right, so it's a 24-man squad, Claudia. I mean, I did give you the squad, right? So if you want, I can give you. So it's 24. So the only person name you would not see in what is printed in the media is Anthony Grant. And Anthony Grant has an asterisk. So Ravel Morrison, as far as we know from what we have seen, it is not going to be available for any of these 3 games unless he gets a call up, because the 24-man squad includes Anthony Grant, who can't play in the USA game, and Ravel Morris' name is not in it. So it is suggesting that he's not going to be a part of the team for these 3 games. That could change, because personally, I believe by the 4th of October, we could see alterations to the team. We could see alterations to the team. Yeah. And that's what I believe. Listen, and what I'm saying is that they can also control the press conference. You call a press conference and you call in the journalists, or you do it on one of the Zoom platform, and you take questions from particular journalists, or you have your own journalists that you give questions. But we need to know. And if not a press conference in the regular context of a press conference, maybe you can do a press release answering some of these questions. Because I also think like there needs to be a press conference for this JPL final where you hear from both coaches. But I don't feel like this is a part of our culture when it comes on to sport. And we need to look at doing it more. We seem to be media shy. The people in sport, in football in particular, seem to be media shy. We don't like to be asked the tough questions. And what happens is that where people don't have enough information, they create their own information. They create their own. And we don't want that. So press conference is necessary, I believe. Yeah, so Yeah. So people, listen. Mr. Speed looked to have lost his internet connection. Unfortunately, because he normally stays until the end. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Claudia, they can do a press conference where they set the narrative as to what is supposed to be asked. All right, so people, we have 5 more minutes and then we're going to close. Like I said, because Mr. Speed, so remember, Mr. Speed got disconnected. Remember the game Saturday 2:30, Cavaliers versus Waterhouse. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Yeah. All right, so don't miss it. Finals of the JPL 2:30 on Saturday. Waterhouse versus Cavaliers. 2005 since Waterhouse have won. Cavaliers 40 years. First finals they are appearing in 40 years. Who is your pick for the finals? Cavaliers, properly known as the Duncan Destroyers, or Waterhouse, commonly called Firehouse. Yep. What are your thoughts? Their club, there's a club, there's a club in that can compete with teams like ours. These are some things that we can strive to be. Otherwise, it is a joke. All right, Drastic Seymour. I don't understand the first part of the comment, but I think I think these two teams will do well in the CONCACAF playoff because I think they are the two better ball playing teams, and they have a lot of youngsters. A lot. I mean, I'm sure that both of these teams' average age is under 24. No one. Something must be wrong with his internet, man. He normally stays on, so I don't know why. But like again, after the finals, we are going to meet. And here's the thing, people. We are going to have a watch along on Saturday 2:30 for the JPL game. So if you're not able to watch it, you can listen to us. I'll even do some commentary for you so you can hear what is going. I'm very good at doing commentary, so you'll hear that as well. Listen, we're going to end the stream. Again, thank you for joining. Before you leave, people, please go over, hit the like button, man, and subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Share the stream. Encourage somebody else to also subscribe, man. Let us grow the thing together. Let us grow together. You understand me? We have some big plans. We have some things coming up. We have some quiz that we're going to put on with special prizes for people and things. Big things. Remember, we don't just cover football. We talk track and field. We have the World Cup of cricket coming up, the T20. That is, we're going to deal with that. You understand me? Remember, we did a video with Zanita Alvaranga, and she is one of the best. Like all the things that Alia Atkinson accomplished for Jamaica in swimming, this young lady, she's decimating them. Immaculate High School student. Check out that video. You understand me? She's a swimmer. She's going to be one of the biggest swimmers coming out of Jamaica. So we cover as many sports as possible and talk to people from everywhere doing our things, improving lives. You understand? So again, bless up. Thank you for joining. If you're coming on late, please go back and watch the beginning of the stream. We also did an earlier stream today where we dedicated that time to the Reggae Boys football. Go and check that out. Check out Talawa TV, Crystal. You understand me? Again, bless up yourself. People, please stay safe. I am Management. This is I Am Sure Sports. And it has been my great pleasure to spend half of my day with you. Enjoy the rest of yours until we meet again. I am sure.